You know, when you look at the huge landscape of American law, there's this one statute that stands apart. It's like a legal fortress built with some really extraordinary power, and it's all designed to protect just one office. Today, we're going to open the gates and really understand the law that guards the US president. So let's just start with a direct question. Out of the thousands of federal laws on the books, which one is the absolute number one shield for the US president? And we're not talking about just any general law against violence here. This is something way more specific, and as you're about to see, a whole lot more powerful. And the answer is Title 18, Section 1751 of the U.S. Code. Now, don't let the numbers fool you. This is not just some dusty old rule. Think of it as a custom-built legal shield designed for one reason: to create a nearly unbreakable layer of protection by making it a massive federal crime to harm the president and a few other key people. Okay, so to really get how powerful this is, here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at what makes this law's shield so special. Then, we'll get into exactly who is protected by it. We're going to examine the really serious crimes it lays out, uncover the unique powers used to enforce it, and finally, see how this whole legal fortress fits into the rest of the U.S. legal system. So let's jump right into the first piece of the puzzle: a law's special shield. I mean, why isn't an attack on the president just treated like any other crime? What makes this so different? Let's explore its unique role. That fortress analogy is honestly perfect. See, most criminal laws apply to everyone, right? Well, this law does the exact opposite. It draws a very, very tight circle around a tiny group of people and says that an attack on them isn't just an attack on a person, it's an attack on the stability of the entire government. And that triggers a massive federal response. So that brings up the obvious question, doesn't it? Who exactly is inside this legal fortress? Let's take a look at who qualifies for this pretty extraordinary level of protection. The group of people protected, which is legally known as the 1751A class, is incredibly exclusive. It's really all about the direct line of succession. So the president, the vice president, and whoever is next in line. It also covers their elect versions during a transition. And, this is important, it extends to a small handful of their most senior staff. And this is what's so revealing about how this law was designed. The list is intentionally narrow. I mean, think about who isn't on it. Cabinet secretaries, members of Congress, Supreme Court justices, they all have their own protections, sure. But this statute, Section 1751, is like a laser beam focused just on the executive line of succession and their immediate team. So, we know who is protected. Now, for Section 3, how are they protected? Let's dig into the actual crimes this law defines and the uniquely severe penalties that come with them. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Look at how serious these penalties are. Of course, killing a protected person is prosecuted as murder, but check this out. Kidnapping can get you life in prison. But here's the most stunning part. Attempting to kill or kidnap, or even just conspiring to do it, carries the exact same potential sentence: life. That is an incredible penalty for a crime that wasn't even completed, and it tells you everything you need to know about how seriously this law treats even the intent to do harm. These crazy severe penalties lead us right into Section 4. Because, a law is only as strong as its enforcement, and Section 1751 gives the government some truly formidable powers to investigate. First, you've got a pretty powerful financial incentive. The Attorney General can offer a reward of up to $100,000 for information that leads to a conviction. That's not a standard thing you find in most laws. It's a huge signal of just how high priority these cases are. But this is the real game changer. In a typical federal investigation, there are all these strict rules about which agencies can do what. For example, the Posse Comitatus Act usually forbids using the U.S. military for domestic law enforcement. Well, Section 1751 just sweeps all those restrictions off the table. The law explicitly says it can use help from any federal, state, or local agency, including the military, notwithstanding any statute to the contrary. It's basically a green light for the entire U.S. government to unify its power for one single purpose. All right, finally, for Section 5, let's zoom out. This law doesn't exist in a bubble. We need to see where this incredibly powerful statute fits into the much, much larger legal puzzle. So you can see how it really intersects with the entire legal system. It starts by taking existing federal homicide laws and just cranking the penalties way up. It's built kind of like other special victim laws for officials, but that reward power, that's a pure example of executive authority in action. And it all culminates in cementing the FBI's role as the top dog, giving them clear and primary jurisdiction. So when you put it all together, you see that Section 1751 isn't just some obscure standalone rule. It's a powerful hub, a central node that connects directly to the core powers of federal law enforcement, criminal justice, and executive authority. That legal fortress we talked about at the beginning, yeah, it's got some deep, deep foundations. And all of this leaves us with a pretty fundamental question, doesn't it? We've seen how uniquely powerful this law is. So, is creating such a special protected class a necessary safeguard for a nation's stability? Or does it challenge that core ideal that all people should be equal under the law? It's definitely something to think about.